The arts exist because life is not enough. This quote by Brazilian poet and playwright Ferreira Goulart, originally "A arte existe porque a vida não basta," really moved me the first time I heard it. For 9 years, my grandfather, who was a very successful actor, entertained me with his creativity, good humor, and ability to create. Having fun was serious business. Every time I visited him, it was if I was into this new world where everything seemed possible. Some days I was a princess, others a superhero, and even a very famous pop star. When I heard this quote by Ferreira Goulart, I could finally understand why art was so important to my grandfather. It was his passion for the art that kept him going. My artistic background also enabled me to take extracurricular dance and music classes, create a performing arts club at school, and even develop and produce a musical with over 30 actors at only 17 years old. All of which developed several skills that make me the person that I am today. However, it saddens me to say that many people do not have the same opportunity to develop these skills like I had. I believe that everyone has an artistic side. I would like to start by asking you, how many of you have a creative hobby? Please raise your hand. Do you sing, do you act, do you dance, please raise your hand. Do you paint, do you draw? I can see that many of you have a creative hobby. Now, I would like to ask, how many of you were encouraged to explore this talent in school? Please raise your hand. How many of you were encouraged to follow this talent in school, in the educational system? Almost no one. The current worldwide educational system is flawed. As a high school student, I believe that a school's expectations regarding students attending a prestigious university and consequently working at a high-paying company always comes first. Well, schools' curricula is tailored around making students follow a strict set of rules and focused on standardized examinations, leaving next to no rooms for students to explore their artistic talents. Well, and so, as a result of that, many students struggle to find their true passions and artistic talents. In a nutshell, the educational system makes students fit inside of a box that many do not belong to, and I am one of those students. After reading countless reports of students online complaining about how they didn't fit in and how artistic students felt left out compared to STEM-leaning students, I understood that this was a major underlying issue in today's society. Well, I could also see that many schools did not have arts-leaning clubs and even subjects. It really stood out to me. Usually, subjects such as math, economics, and physics are more encouraged than theater, music, and history, for example, because of the paradigm that, well, STEM-leaning subjects give you more money. These students are also bright. They just have a different focus, and they should be able to explore these talents, not needing to follow a curriculum not made for people like them. As I said, I was one of those students. I am one of those students. I was never a straight-A student, and I could finally find myself inside of extracurricular activities when I created the Performing Arts Club, for example, for students like myself who wish to pursue their artistic talents. And it stood out to me how, as the weeks went by, the number of students attending the club grew immensely, and now we have over 40 students pursuing their artistic talents, which is amazing. Also, many of these students wish to pursue these talents as a career. Now, this can come off a bit, well, unpleasing for some parents, since they believe that STEM-leaning subjects give you money, and pursuing arts as a career would not give you money for your child. On that note, I have another question for you. Please raise your hand if you have ever considered pursuing your creative hobby as a career. Okay. Now, how many of you did not pursue your career because you thought it would not give you money? Some of you. Okay, interesting. According to The Independent, a renowned British newspaper, only 7% of Americans pursue their dream career. A raging 93% of Americans work at a job that doesn't wholeheartedly fulfill them. Now, I'm a firm believer that you will never do something properly if you don't do something you love. What I mean is that you probably won't wholeheartedly dedicate yourself to something you don't enjoy. And I think many of you could agree with me. So, you would say the way out of this is to encourage people to follow their dream career, right? Well, some would say that the perfect career is a combination of both something you enjoy and something that makes money. Well, this still does not answer my question. The job of a CEO, for example, which is a very successful job, some would say are their goal. Well, a very traditional, famous job nowadays, the odds of you becoming a CEO at a very famous company are of 0.002%. That's 1 in 135,000. The odds of you becoming a, well, famous actor, for example, are 0.04. Not very far away. And, well, contrary to many, the entertainment and arts industry comes in 6th place with the industry with most millionaires in the world, coming way forward and way before aerospace or mining and agriculture. That could surprise many. Let's now talk about die-hard artists, those who live exclusively out of arts. You know who those are. Those who graduate school or who get all of their income exclusively from the arts. 10% of art graduate schools have all of their income coming from the arts. 2 million Americans nowadays have all of their income coming from the arts. So it is possible to live off the arts, you could say. But now, if you wish to pursue a career involving big companies and finance, do not let your artistic hobbies die. Companies such as Google, Apple, Tesla are leaning towards applicants who have a more creative side rather than expertise in math, for example. So nowadays, to land you a job, you do not need necessarily to be a completely STEM-lean person. They want creative people, especially because, well, it's proven that pursuing the arts can develop many skills such as resilience, communication, teamwork, leadership, and many others. But parents still want their children to pursue STEM-leaning subjects and to follow those as a career. Well, they're not wrong. It worked for them, but not necessarily will work for future generations. As I said, companies are leaning towards more creative individuals nowadays. My aim is to prove the importance of the arts in an individual's life and to prove how the arts are important and they shouldn't be abandoned. Doesn't matter what your job is. Doesn't matter what you do. You could be an accountant, you could be a CEO at Google, you could be an artist. The arts are always important and they should be encouraged. And especially in schools and the educational system nowadays, the arts should still be encouraged for all students. No student should be forced to follow a curriculum that they don't fit in. My goal with this talk is to have you walk out that door feeling inspired to pursue your creative hobby with passion and with open-mindedness. I hope to present to students like myself, parents, teachers, and leaders the importance of the arts in today's society and how it shapes a better individual and citizen nowadays. I'm going to finish my talk the same way I began, with the same phrase, and hopefully it'll have a different perspective on you now. The arts exist because life is not enough. Thank you.